Okay, salon owners, everyone is about to start sprinting through December, but every one of you has the same quiet fear in the back of your mind. What do I do when the calendar goes silent in January? Because December feels like a cash waterfall, and January feels like somebody turned the faucet off. But here's the truth nobody told you: the January problem isn't a January problem at all. It's a December leadership problem. And today, we're going to show you exactly how to stop that holiday hangover before it even starts.
So good. So let me share a quick story with you. Years ago, before we had systems dialed in, before pre booking was a lifestyle, before we understood culture, we had one December where we were booked beyond belief. Maybe you've been there before too. I remember service providers being double booked, guests were emotional, the front desk was in survival mode, everyone was pushing, rushing, hurrying, and doing. And the whole time, I kept thinking to myself, man, this is amazing. Like, we're so busy. January will take care of itself. But then January came and it didn't. Our numbers fell off a cliff. I could tell that the team was exhausted, that guests went back to their normal routines, that pre-booking didn't happen, that retail fell flat, and we had our worst revenue month of the year right after one of our best. And that was the moment I said to myself, never again, Jen, never again. Because the goal isn't to feel December, the goal is to let November feel January, February, and even March. And that truly changes everything.
Yes, never again, Jen. See, if our names rhymed with never again, it would never happen again. Oh, I love that, But here's the mindset shift we want you to have. January's revenue is created 4 to 6 to 8 weeks before January even begins. It's not in the moment, it's not with panic posts, it's not with desperate discounts, it's not with the please pre-book, please. January success is created at the consultation, during the checkout, and throughout your hospitality in December. You know, your team is busy in December, yes, but that busyness makes it the perfect opportunity to set up the next 90 days.
Mhm.
Why? Because guests are already in the salon. They're motivated to look good. They're open to routine shifts. They want to start the new year fresh, and their energy is high. So it's the easiest time to guide them into a plan. But if your team is only surviving December, they miss the January setup entirely. This is where most salon owners lose tens of thousands of dollars without even realizing it.
So good. So we're going to dive into the four systems that prevent the January hangover. So let's kick it off with number one. We like to say is pre-booking with purpose. Most teams would say, "Hey, would you like to pre-book today?" But December guests aren't thinking clearly. They're thinking about, "Hey, I got my kids' concerts, I got the holiday travel, I got the family coming in, I got the work parties. I'm keeping the ship afloat." So you need language that leads, not language that asks. So instead of, "Would you like to pre-book?" You could say something like, "Hey, let's go ahead and get your first 2025 maintenance appointment reserved." January and February feel fast because it's when everybody is ready for a fresh start. So let's make sure you get the time that works best for you. It's so good. So if you think about that, that removes the pressure and it actually inserts leadership.
Yeah, so good, because the goal really is to get at least, 60 to 70% of December guests to pre-book that next appointment. Because step number two is we need to really put in incentives that don't kill profit. You don't need discounts, you need motivation. So use incentive systems like secret envelopes opened at their January or February appointment. That's one of our very favorite things to do. It creates so much excitement for the guests to come in and open up that secret envelope together with you to see what it is that they are going to get to experience during that January and February appointment. You could also do like a golden ticket giveaway entry for January visits, or offer, a VIP refresh package that combines service and retail. Because January isn't slow because people don't want services. It's slow because salons don't give them a compelling reason to come in early and kick off that brand new year, new you, refresh, amazing journey ahead.
Mm, love that. And so another opportunity we can look at is the team language plus hospitality scripts. When you think about it, your front desk and your hospitality team drive January more than your service providers. Like what? Yeah, I know it's true. And so these should use because they really should be using like those what we like to call those micro moments. At check in. It's like, hey, you picked such a perfect time to get refreshed. January feels fast, so we'll make sure you're squared away for the new year before you leave today. Or at checkout, it could sound like, let's say, hey, let's reserve your refresh reservation for early 2025. I would even say January 2025. Like we want you to stay feeling this good. This is like what we call a calm leadership language, not sales talk.
I love that. And then I think number 4 is to really look at that retail strategy, because retail isn't just about December. Every retail moment should lead to continued routine. Your January appointment is the perfect time to reassess your winter care routine. Let's lock in a date so that we can keep your hair healthy and hydrated. That's this is actually what creates that continued retail, continued appointments, continued cash flow. Because it's like I always like to say there's some moment usually in January where I remember Luca put on a coat last January. She put on her little puffy coat, and all of a sudden her hair started growing from the static electricity. And everybody's doing that. That's happening to everybody around that time. January is like when it hits the hardest and when the hair needs the most help and the most hydration. And yeah, you could drag a dryer sheet on it and that will temporarily, solve that. But your hair is screaming for attention, and we don't want our guests' hair to be screaming for attention in January. And what we know is true is that January only hurts when your December is disconnected.
Mm, so good. January only hurts when December is disconnected. I love that.
Mhm.
So let's kind of look at a belief that a lot of people have, and kind of look at a new opportunity or way to flip that is that busy does not equal successful. So salons think that December is proof they're doing well. But you guys, busy isn't the goal. Predictability or being predictable is the goal. Structured is the goal. Profitable is the goal. And here's the truth: if your December feels chaotic, January will feel empty. If your December feels intentional, January will feel abundant. And your job as a salon owner is to not ride the wave. Your job is to design the year.
Love that. Design that year. So here is your December to January checklist. If you do these 4 things, January will not be slow, period. You know, Step 1 is to create that mandatory pre-booking language for the entire team. Set a script, practice it together, make it fun when you practice it, and hold it. This isn't a suggestion. This is who we are as a salon company. Step 2 would be it will be create that January incentive that they want to come in for. So that's where like that secret envelope is gold, like talking about that big picture for them. What's next? Step 3 is have check in and check out January forward language. So train your hospitality team this week, not a second later. Make sure they feel really empowered here. And step 4 is really embodying that leadership mindset. because as the leader, your job is to stay calm and lead. It's not to push things on people, it's to give them the language to say. It's not to panic when things are going crazy, it's to truly lead and show them the way.
So good. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, okay, Jen Lindsay, I need systems, like I need scripts. I need this to be easier. Then we want to invite you into our 3-day salon success secrets challenge, where we teach, the full sales process, the leadership mindset, how to build a salon that is profitable and how to grow revenue through a team culture. And so just remember, you guys, this December is not happening to you, it's happening for you. And to prepare you for a stronger January, a clearer year, and a leadership level that you've never stepped into before. And if you want the exact script, systems, and team training to make this your most predictable, profitable year ever, text the word success to, so that's SUCCESS, to 469 283 5590. Again, that's 469 283 5590. And we'll send you everything. You don't have to wait to fear January. You can actually design it. And that's your salon success secret for today.